Hello everyone, welcome back. So I know it's been a while since I've done a book review and I'm sorry about that. We had a lot of issues getting kiddo into a new school, due to bullying issues at his previous school, getting kiddos set, used to the new schedule with the new school but the school literally changed buildings 3 times. It was the same school and teachers, just different buildings in different areas, which was kind of rough. So getting child used to all of the new schedules and the new environments was rough. And then once that all got straightened away and finalized and in a set building, it became a situation where we had ongoing health problems. I fell into my annual sinus infection that usually lasts for a week or two. No rhyme or reason, no idea why it happens, but it happens every year. We've had various other people in the family who have had health problems, my mom and dad, extended family members who've had ongoing health problems. And we've had family members going in and out of the hospital for the better part of a month. And then you start bringing in other things outside of work, mom, and family. And there's just a lot going on. I wasn't able to do it. I am trying to be better about making sure that I have my time scheduled. It was just a situation where I couldn't schedule my time. There was no way to schedule around it. So, for lack of a better term. But hopefully, the way things are going, the ongoing health problems will not be an issue for very much longer. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And so from there, let's just get into today's review. And today's review is The Devil's Angels MC, Book 1, Gunner by Lola Wright. And this is actually quite a fun little story about Ava and Gunner. Now, trigger warnings for this story are physical assault, sexual assault, PTSD, and I believe there was... No, I'm not sure that they were drugged. And as with most MC romances, you do have references to club girls or club sluts, and you do have some derogatory language in there, but I don't really necessarily think that's like trigger warning worthy. However, I figured I'd throw that in. So, story of Ava Beaumont, who was a foster child, brought up in the system her whole life. She never knew who her parents were. There were no documents. She was literally found in a dumpster a day or two after she was born, and she had been born addicted to crack. Her last name, Beaumont, is from the street that the dumpster was found on, where she was found. So she grew up very weary of people in the world around her. While she didn't necessarily have the worst foster homes, she didn't have the best ones either. And then in her past, there were physical things that happened to her, and that does come in later in the story. And then you have Gunner, who is literally the second generation prez of the Devil's Angels MC. His parents were pretty good parents. His father had been the prez before him. And when his parents died, his father's VP, Petey, stepped down. So it was Gunner and his best friend Axel, who was Petey's son. And they basically took over the MC. So Ava has come to the town about 2 or 3 years before the story takes place. She opened a bakery called Sweet Angel Treats, and she's purchased her own home. She very much just wants to set down roots and be able to stay in one place and not be scared because of this previous thing that had happened to her. And she just wants to have a normal life. She has her pets, which are they are some of the best comic relief in the book. There are quite a few jokes between the characters as well, but the animals are very hilarious. So she has a very overweight cat. She has a pig that rides a skateboard. She has her very large Native American dog named Loki, and she has a very funny but foul-mouthed bird. It is a macaw named Mac. And the very beginning scene of the story is her neighbor across the street harassing her about her animals, which apparently is an ongoing thing, and Ralph, the neighbor, is someone who's known for harassing everybody on the street just because he's one of those types of people. He has to harass people, but he's just kind of a slob. And he gets upset because the bird outsmarts him all the time, which I have to say I don't think would be very hard. And our meet cute is that Gunner comes and basically intervenes between Ava and a police officer that Ralph had called to complain about the horrible, evil glares her dog was giving him. So that's how the two meet. The continued interaction develops because Gunner basically asks her to check in on Petey a few times a week. Petey had fallen from his bike and hurt his leg. And basically, that's just how the relationships develop. She becomes close to Petey first. They develop a very nice friendship, which later becomes more of like a father-daughter type of relationship. And through Petey, she begins to have more interactions with the club. There's really not a whole lot in terms of drama between Gunner and Ava pertaining to their relationship. At first, Gunner is like, yeah, I don't want a relationship. And Ava's like, oh, he probably doesn't want a relationship. But then over time, they realize they do want to be together. And that's really about the extent of the drama pertaining to developing their relationship on a personal level and of their own like inner monologue. You do get some outside influences that of course are going to create an issue. You have some club sluts that make things harder for Ava, but Gunner, to his credit, is very open with her about the fact that, hey, I did do things with some of these girls. I'm not going to do it anymore because we're together and I have no reason to be with anybody else. And as much as I hate to say it, they are going to make it hard for you for a little while until they realize you're not going anywhere. So he's very upfront with her about it. He's very honest about it. And he does everything he can to make it easier for her when he sees the problems develop. And the club sluts having these little moments where they give Ava a hard time leads to one of the funniest scenes in a book I have ever read, ever. Wherein, and this is the only scene spoiler I'm going to give, but basically one of the club sluts asks Mac the macaw, Polly want a cracker? And Mac responds, Ho want a dick. That alone is worth buying the book just for that scene. And I'm not going to tell you the rest of the scene because I don't want to spoil all of it. So there's an ongoing issue between Devil's Angels MC and another MC, which of course Ava gets dragged into. And then we find out later that one of Ava's past problems, and this is where the sexual assault comes in, basically people who had assaulted her and harassed her had teamed up with this other MC, and they were figuring, we'll take down two birds with one stone. We'll take the MC down and we'll get Ava back and we'll get revenge. And that's where that went. You don't run into a lot of the stereotypes with this that you get with a lot of other MC stories. Ava is by no means a weak woman. Yeah, she's been moving from place to place and looking over her shoulder because of this horrendously traumatic assault that had happened to her. But she also, in tandem with that, was also taking various self-defense and martial arts classes. She is constantly taking different martial arts and fighting classes to better her fighting abilities. She has almost never had to be rescued by Gunner. There is a part where she is abducted, and Gunner does end up coming up with the club to get her, but she got herself out of the situation first. She also doesn't have this misinformed opinion that I have to be a certain type of way to be a badass. She's like, I'm a badass. I don't have to sit there and open all the pickle jars to prove I'm a badass. And you know what? It's more fun if I have my guy open the pickle jar for me. So she's very much like, I can do things on my own, but I don't want to because I want to be with my man. And he knows I can take care of myself. So he rests easy. You know what I mean? If at any point in anything it seems like I'm not giving you a good description on things, just let me know in the comments below and I'll try and clear things up. Gunner, to his credit, appreciates the fact that Ava is a very strong woman. He appreciates the fact that she can take care of herself. He appreciates the fact that she didn't wilt like a wallflower and just shrivel up and decide to hide from the world. He loves the fact that after all these things that happened to her, she created her own business. She took and takes different martial arts classes. She's able to defend herself. She's able to take care of those around her, while at the same time, she's still able to accept when he feels like he needs to coddle her because he was scared for her at some point. Because she understands that it's not coming from a condescending place, it's coming from a place of, holy shit, I almost lost you. So they very much are understanding of each other's needs, and they are very much understanding and accepting of each other's wants as well. And so they do get along very well for that. Along with the development of Ava and Gunner's relationship and Ava and Petey's relationship, you also have the development of Ava and Axel's ex. You would think I would remember his name. I want to say I think it's Axel. Petey's son, basically, Gunner's best friend. They have, as she's developed this father-daughter type relationship with Petey, she's also developed a brother-sister relationship with his son. We'll just call him Axe because I can't remember if it's Axe or Axel. I really do think it's Axel though. But we'll find out for the next review for this series because I believe he is next. But they've really developed a very real brother-sister relationship, if not a little bit nicer than a traditional one. They pick at each other a lot, but there's a whole scene where Petey and Axe are basically asking her to be part of their family. And Axe likes to throw this in Gunner's face and basically will come in and start spending brother-sister time with him and Ava just to get on Gunner's bad side. I have to say, in terms of the writing of the characters, all of the characters are different enough to where they're not carbon copies of each other, but they all complement each other extremely well. I was very happy with a scene where one of the club girls and Ava ended up deciding, it's better for us to be friends than not be friends, but, I understand if being my friend is going to make things hard for you, so I'm going to leave it up to you. So it wasn't the stereotypical, all of the club sluts and all of the members, women, are constantly not getting along. It is very much based off personality and respect or lack thereof. So there's a lot more maturity, I guess, for lack of a better way. Now, whether it would be realistic to a true club, I don't know. I've never been around an MC club. But it is nice to see a different take on how the dynamics of the club work. Does that mean that other stories are invalid? No. It just means it's a different outlook, it's a different take, and it was one that I liked to see. It was very enjoyable, it was very refreshing compared to some MCs. But just like any other MC story that I love, it has its own place in my heart and in what I enjoy. And it's actually one of the ones I've been reading or rereading with everything starting to calm down, trying to decompress, just because, again, Mac the macaw is really great at just leavening everybody's lives. And apparently on Lola Wright's website, there is a short story dedicated to Mac, and I am planning to read that. In later stories, other birds come into play, and apparently that's when this story takes place. So I'm going to wait until I've gotten through some of the other books before I read that, so I can fully understand all of that. But yeah, so that was Devil's Angels MC. Like I said, I think it was very well written. I think the characters are very well rounded. I like the fact that we didn't resort to things that, while valid story concepts and tropes, maybe can be a little overdone in the MC universe. It was, like I said, I have no complaints about it. There are a few things that can be triggering for someone who is the survivor of a sexual assault. Aside from that, there's really little to very little that I would find offensive. Because again, you have a strong female character, you have a strong male character. They complement each other. They don't necessarily, it's not one of those things where we hate each other so much that there's this passion. No, it's just, we're both strong, we're both badasses. We're going to be strong and be badasses together. So let me know in the comments down below what you think of Devil's Angels MC if you have read the books. If you have not, please let me know if this review has inspired you to give it a shot. If you have any questions or comments or even smart aleck remarks, let the words fly. And I'll see you all at the next review, hopefully much sooner than it took for me to do this one. And that's it for now. I'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.